Ryan's trademarked Matrix style. Leave all that
Shortcuts. You are married to Laura. I see the cheater in you.
We're going to counterpoint and not say that word.
Welcome to the Kindred Spirit Podcast, a show all about the board game Spirit Island. Here we'll talk about analytics and strategies within the game, as well as a plethora of other topics that can be found within it. In today's episode, we take a look at the plantation colony of France.
I'm so pumped for this episode.
Yeah? Woohoo!
Let's go!
Let's go! Bien aimé, commençons.
Ooh.
Hey.
Oui, oui. Je m'appelle Jonathan.
That's right. I figure if I'm going to say it every single time, I may as well say it.
Alrighty. There it is. The American version.
That's right. That's right. Welcome to France's episode.
I have been waiting so long.
Yeah, I remember you were like texting me like, I am so excited.
I'm ready to record. Let's do this.
Let's go.
I actually have notes.
Yeah, so do I for once.
Yeah, usually where it's like off the cuff. Maybe
Yeah.
people at home realize that, John, we noticed you're off the cuff.
Who knows? Maybe the structure will be helpful to some people's ears.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You never know.
Many thoughts I have.
This is a good one.
Yes.
This is a big one.
What if this one sucks? The listener's like, oh, that wasn't one of their best. We're really
Nothing ventured, all right?
We're really building up this episode. I hope it's good. Bring out all the stops.
I'm excited for this one. How about
Unexpected
that?
targets. Bring those back.
Unexpected target. I believed what you meant to say was unexpected tigers. Anyway, France came to us in the conveyance of Branch and Claw.
Oh, yeah.
Not a base game adversary. This is one of the expansion ones.
Mm-hmm.
Came all the way by themselves, along with Keeper and Fangs.
Yes.
Which is actually kind of funny because I think those spirits are actually pretty good at taking them down.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and learn about how France is represented in the game, shall we?
Let's.
There's a pretty cool and informative clarification about France as they are represented in this game. The French plantation colony is really a twofold adversary. Some of its effects are derived from historical France, while others are based off of the Caribbean plantation colonies founded by multiple European powers. Note that this is 1700s France. The policies and practices of later French colonization, such as homeland representation and strong public health infrastructure investment, are absent. King Louis XIV, the longest ruling monarch in Europe, rules France with an iron fist, but requires a constant stream of revenue to finance his wars on the continent. Recently involved in a war against Sweden and the Holy Roman Empire to place his grandson Philip on the Spanish throne, Louis relies on the strength of the French army to hold together a tenuous alliance with Spain and Scotland against the Swedish, Habsburg, and Prussian kingdoms. Prevented from raising money from the aristocracy, and with a peasant population already suffering under some of the highest tax rates in Europe, he has begun setting up plantation colonies and extracting the resources of distant lands for the benefit of the Kingdom of France.
Yeah, I felt those plantation colonies when we played. I know all that too well.
All too well. You know, it's quite funny, because during Sweden's episode, I was quick to point out the fact that they had a strong influx of Slavic people. And the reason why that was quite salient for me was because 50% of my heritage is Yugoslavian. Well, the other 50% is French, so here we go. My ancestors!
Hence the opening to this episode is flexing
Right
on
on.
your French heritage.
With my 5 French words that I know. I'm a disgrace to the family name.
I know fromage is cheese.
Omelette de fromage.
There you go. What does the book say?
Well, let's go ahead and find out. According to the book, this adversary is notably easier for spirits which are good at destroying towns. Ergo, lightning swift strike. Good mention. I would also like to bring up Heart of the Wildfire because of the fast, quick, high damage, which is awesome. Or our ever-present Thunder Speaker.
Definitely very good.
Who is a very consistent town popper. However, this adversary is notably harder for spirits which have difficulty destroying buildings, ergo bringer of dreams and nightmares.
Wait, don't spoil our next episode.
I'm just reading what the book says, man.
Don't spoil what the poll reveals.
I'm just reading the book. But yes, the inability to kill stuff is kind of important, specifically towns. But we're going to get into that, don't worry.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
Poor bringer.
That's right. Let us now go ahead and discuss what they actually do.
Their tactics.
Yeah.
What's their thing?
So, France...
Their shtick,
is one of the only 2 in the game that starts at difficulty 2.
I feel it.
As we mentioned long ago, Habsburg is the other. So, you will quickly understand, dear listener, that a lot of France's brawn is manifested right quick.
Front-loaded, for sure, yeah. At first we did Sweden, which is very front-loaded.
Yeah.
And now France is also...
France. So, they have a base difficulty of 2, but let's go ahead and discuss their additional loss condition. In my personal opinion, this is probably the most stress-inducing for me personally.
Agreed.
They have the perk Sprawling Plantations. Before setup, return all but 7 towns per player to the box. Invaders win if ever you cannot place a town.
What's key here is it says before setup.
Yeah.
So you're taking out the island tiles before anything goes on
Yeah.
there, because usually you have your starting town or
Right,
something, or
right.
they add more towns. It's before anything.
Right, those towns count.
Oof. Which kind of isn't fair. It's like, I didn't put that there. It's printed there, game.
You mind?
I know. It's like, I haven't even begun to play yet. I'm already losing.
What we do, I would totally advise that you all do this as well, because I found it incredibly helpful. Technically, you're going to do this already because it says return all but 7. Some people just like to count what the number is, but I think it's actually easier to count and keep track if you do actually physically set them aside. I highly recommend that. Some people don't actually set them aside. I recommend that you do, because you can see exactly how much you have left.
You had like these clear Dixie cups, like small ones.
Yep.
But it was so nice to see.
Right.
They were set aside, but also we can visually see through the cup and be like, oh, we have 2 left or something.
Right. And the thing is, this is one of those things where in like a video game where you have to keep something at the 50% mark. There's like a balance beam thing, and you can't be too far to the left. You can't be too far to the right. So when you're starting to go high in the percentages, 70, 80%, 90%.
That's true.
But on the other one where it's like,
I think that's a great analogy.
20%, 10%, cool, that's nice, but you're probably focusing a lot on the towns and you're probably erring elsewhere.
It feels...
If you're focusing that heavily on it.
It honestly feels like you're on a balance beam.
Yeah.
And either way, you can go towards this way and you lose, or this way and you lose.
And if you sway too hard to killing towns, you're not focusing on another problem land or another thing that's going to hit you hard with standard cities or explorer damage. But if you don't go hard enough on the prevention, then you're going to have a lot of towns out there.
Yeah.
And so being able to physically see how many towns are in that little Dixie cup was extremely helpful for us, because we were like, you know what? I'm okay with having a town or 2 go out this round, because look how many towns are in the cup.
We kind of would like keep a tally after every turn. Yeah. Be like, where were we at before they built?
And then there's some turns where it's like, all right, we got to hit them. Yeah. All right, let's turn up the heat.
Oh, boy. I'm going for a major this turn.
Anyway, so that is a loss condition. Do not have more than 7 per player. Thank God it's per player. Oh, my word.
Yeah. But still, you feel it
That is
quickly.
really pressure-inducing, man.
We'll speak on more as we go through France. They build towns real quick.
Yeah.
Because they kind of have a cheat to it.
It's really scary when they have a limited amount of invader pieces that they put out there.
Yeah.
And trust me, they like to build their towns. This is why the Habsburg combo really sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, the whole build towns twice as fast thing.
No. Stage 2 escalation. This is the counterpart to like that balance beam that you're talking about. It's called Demand for New Cash Crops. After exploring on each board, pick a land of the shown terrain. If it has buildings, add a blight. Otherwise, add a town.
I actually really like this one.
Oh, I hate it.
Oh, I hate it, but I have a choice, and I love having a choice.
But they're like bad and bad.
Oh, I know. It's
either a loss condition or a loss condition. It's either the town loss condition or blight.
I feel it. Don't get me wrong. I feel it. They both are awful, but I have a choice.
You do have a choice. That's true.
Because with Sweden, it's like...
There goes the Dahan.
There are some times where, like, honestly, we're good on towns. Sure, let's have another. Or I'm about to do a thing, and I have 2 extra damage that I was going to do with my attack that's planned.
Yeah.
And, hey, add a town? You know what? Why not? Or, you know what? We're doing really good on Blight. I'm completely clear. I think we can add another.
Yeah, or if, like, we're 1 town away, like, we have to add a blight here.
Now, this choice is a lot easier depending on what level of France you're on.
That's where we'll get into
the
it, the blight
difficulty
thing.
of this choice comes in when they're at fully leveled.
Yes. I guess for me it's upsetting because say I have a clear land.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a good job. We kept this jungle clear. It's amazing. Then all of a sudden they explore.
Right.
We'll talk about they get another explorer. So all of a sudden there's 2 explorers there. And then with stage 2 escalation, if we don't want to blight, we pick this land with no building. So now it's got 2 explorers in a town.
Right.
That sucks.
It really does.
It was a clear land 10 seconds ago.
Right.
So anyway, they're tough. I like what you're saying. Having choice is helpful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's get into the levels.
Yes.
Speaking about extra explorers, here they are.
Spoiler alert, I ruined it, sorry.
No worries. At level 1, they are at difficulty 3.
Oof, okay.
Which is pretty high for level 1. You have 9 fear cards, so your fear deck is unperturbed. It is 3 across the board.
Mm-hmm.
They acquire the perk Frontier Explorers. After setup, when invaders successfully explore into a land without buildings, add another explorer.
So this is what I was talking about. Me no like this.
So in a land that's clear and they explore there, a second explorer shows up.
Yeah.
This means that any power that you played in the slow phase that usually is calibrated to just take out a single explorer isn't going to be enough.
No.
Or if it moves a single explorer isn't going to be enough. Unfortunately, this happens into any land that meets this criteria.
Yeah. This is why Wilds tokens or isolation is huge
Right.
versus France.
There are a lot of layered pros and cons to this.
Okay.
One very big con is the fact that it's not, once per board or something like that. It's on all of them.
Yeah.
If all of your lands are cleared, that's twice as many explorers for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
The pro, though, is that even if you didn't clear your land and there were lingering buildings from last turn hanging around, they don't get that bonus explorer.
Because there's a building there.
Right. And it is very important that France doesn't have extra explorers.
You don't want too many building up in the land.
Right, we'll get on to that in a bit. But if you can go and pick off explorers, or if you can restrict the amount of explorers they get out there, that is huge.
Either with isolation.
Huge.
Or just picking them off.
So if they only explore with a single explorer, that is good. Even a normal explorer, like what we would call a normal explorer, is good.
Huge.
And we'll get into why. So that's level 1.
Level 2, they jump up to 5 difficulty. Adding a 10th fear card, 3/4/3 formats. It is called Slave Labor. During setup, put the Slave Rebellion event under the top 3 cards of the event deck.
Wait, what?
Ooh, we'll have to get into that of what that does. After the invaders build in a land with 2 or more explorers, replace all but 1 explorer with the equal number of towns. So
there it is.
So you have those 2 explorers. Instead of just building 1 town, you build 2 towns. What was their loss condition again? Towns?
Well, there it is.
So you have 3 explorers in a land. There's 4 towns and 1 explorer left.
Remember that extra explorer thing we talked about? Yeah, this is why. After invaders build in a land with 2 or more explorers, replace all the explorers but 1 with an equal number of towns. Oh!
And they still build a
yes!
town.
The extra explorers immediately turn into towns.
Yeah.
So having extra explorers
Not good.
is incredibly bad.
Lose. You basically lose.
Because they all turn into towns.
Oh, yeah.
So in that one turn, you're like, oh, look at all these
2
little explorers.
explorers.
I can kill them with like 1 raging storm, and they're all towns next turn.
What? Oh.
Oh, crap.
Wait a minute. I'm down to 1 town for my loss condition?
Oh, crap.
Oh,
crap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, frick.
We're only
Their
at-
damage literally doubled, sometimes even more, depending on if they built a city or
We're
whatnot.
only at their 2nd level of difficulty.
I know.
I have lost at level 2 difficulty against France. It's no joke.
I know.
It's hard.
I know. And you will feel this next emotion thoroughly over the next hour here. But France, honestly, within the first 2 to 3 levels, that's where, honestly, their hardest difficulty comes.
You think so?
So France is difficulty 10 when fully upgraded.
Yes.
At level 2, they're at 5.
Wow. Already
So,
halfway there.
Halfway there.
At level 2.
At level 2.
Of
We
6.
still have levels 3, 4, 5, and 6 to get the other half. So, there's a word of encouragement here. If all of you out there have taken on France at level 1, 2, or 3, and you're like, I'm going to play it nice and safe, and I'm just going to do it at like level 2 or 3, and you're like, oh, this is hard.
Don't feel
and
bad.
You think that it's very difficult and they kicked your teeth in. Don't feel bad. Honestly, take them on at level 6. It's not that different. It really is.
On the other side, if you're doing well against level 2 France, go up to level 6.
You're ready for 6,
you're ready.
Baby. Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Slave Rebellion event card.
This is the only adversary to have its specific event.
You know you're dealing with a strong adversary when it's the only one that gets its own private event card to help it stay somewhat balanced.
Yeah. Right.
What other adversary needs an event card?
No, just France.
None of them.
Just France. What does the event do?
Okay, Slave Rebellion. Obviously, like we said, you won't use this card if you're not fighting France or if you're not playing events.
Events.
Anyway, so there are 2 things that will happen with Slave Rebellion. The first one will only happen when the invaders are at stage 1 or 2, and the second thing will happen when you are at stage 3.
Okay.
At stage 1 and 2, the thing that happens is called Small Uprising. On each board, add a strife to a town. After finishing this event card, draw another one, and then return this card to the event deck as per setup. And the setup says you put it back under the top 3 cards. So what this means is that it comes back again. It will happen multiple times in your game. This is actually really nice because you
Strife
can
is good.
prepare for it.
I love Strife.
Being able to know when an event card is going to happen, and more importantly than that, which specific event card is coming, is very rare in this game. You can get it with this, and you can get it with Fractured Days. Or when Laura's on the board.
When Laura wants to play, cheat
and
the game.
she's cheating.
Well, it is like on turn 4, say you do have a town that you don't have defense for.
Right.
If you know and you remember, be like, we're going to add a strife to that
Right,
town.
so that's actually really nice. And adding a strife to a town, always good.
Yeah.
Towns are the middle bad guy, middle as far as middleweight. Lightweight or explorers, they don't hurt you so bad, so strifing them is always like, Like I usually only strife and explore if I absolutely have to.
Right.
Or it's Russia. Towns are a medium weight bad guy. Always good to do a town, but for me personally, I always prefer to strife a city.
Like,
obviously, because that's the highest damage bad guy.
But with France, it feels like their towns are their like
Right.
highest damage.
Right.
Or at least the ones you're focused on the most.
Right. Or a Habsburg town, yes.
Yeah, of course.
So that is what Small Uprising does at stages 1 or 2. But it really gets fun
Stage 3.
at stage 3. It is called Rebellion. And it says, on each board, destroy a town.
Whoa.
That's always really nice.
Just cool.
I'm glad it says destroy, not remove. I'm glad it says destroy.
You get fear for that.
Because that's a fear. Then, add a strife to any 2 buildings. Oh, I love this.
Love that.
Because it said on each board. It didn't say
Any.
the same land or whatever. Just any 2 buildings.
Any 2.
Love it. Then, every invader takes 1 damage per strife it has.
Grinning Trickster is like losing its mind
Spoilers!
right now. I'm sorry. That's the next episode.
After finishing this event card, draw another one. This card gets discarded. Ooh.
Bye-bye.
So, Rebellion is dope. You destroy a town straight up. Then you add 2 strife to any 2 buildings on your board. Then, the people that you just strifed take 1 damage per strife it has. So that means if you had strife from another thing, you can stack it, which is fantastic. Obviously, any strife card versus France has more potency. So look out for strife cards, because if you have France at least at level 2 and you have Slave Rebellion in there, you can go ahead and remember that strife is going to be useful because of Slave Rebellion, and you can go ahead and keep those strife cards that you find.
Terror Turns to Madness. Callback from one of our earlier episodes. You really liked that card.
That card would be fantastic.
And that changes with each terror level. And that'd be cool.
Anyway, and just like before, after finishing this event card, you draw another one. But unfortunately, after the Rebellion, it's discarded and you lose it, which is too bad.
One time use in stage 3.
That's okay, because it's kind of cool. The small uprising happens throughout the game potentially over and over and over again. You're building. The slaves are all in their plantations and they're getting more strife. They're getting more unrest. And eventually there's one big rebellion.
They're, fighting back, because the last part of this event is huge.
Then at the very end, you have Aid the Uprising. It's a Dahan event, and it says, invaders with strife take 1 damage per Dahan present.
Huge.
Add 1 Dahan per building this destroys. Oh, love it.
In stage 3, they're already taking damage, and then if there's a Dahan there, you can, like, take out a city.
Oh, I know. It's so great.
Yeah.
The thing that's so cool, though, is thematically, you are getting Dahan per building this destroys. You're liberating the people that were inside those plantation colonies. I love that thematic edge, and they're fighting for Team Good Guy. It's so great.
They have broken free.
Yeah, they have broken free, and it is dope. Absolutely dope.
Love Slave Rebellion. Is this the only event you like?
Moving on. Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, it's a great event. It helps us.
It's really great. But the book has something to say about this card.
Okay.
Thematic Rebellion. The predictability of the Slave Rebellion event makes for a more balanced game. If you prefer a more thematic uncertainty, shuffle the Slave Rebellion card into the top 2 cards, then move the bottom 2 cards of the event deck to the top. What this means is in the top 2, you don't know which of those 2 it's shuffled in with. You don't know if it was the 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
So, if you don't do this, then you can unequivocally know when it's happening. You know, oh, it's the 4th, guaranteed. Here, though, you don't know if it's the 3rd or the 4th.
That makes it more difficult, and France is already hard.
That's a fun little choice.
Yeah.
There is a very interesting thing, though, that can happen with this Slave Rebellion card when you're going up against France. You know, in the game of Spirit Island, one of the things that the player has to ask themselves is, do I want to play with events? Yes or no? Some people say yes, some people say no.
Sure.
So the thing is the people that say no have an awkward position that they are placed in. For if you are someone who usually plays with events, you put this event card in there and it just acts like normal.
You're kind of just used to it, yeah.
You're accustomed to it, you're fine. What if you're someone who doesn't play with events,
Play with Beast Command.
Yet, you see how integrated Slave Rebellion is to the event deck and France's balance here. So, can you play against France without using the event deck?
Did you just, like, draw it on the 4th turn?
Well, luckily for you, we have the answer for you.
Okay, because I don't know.
To anyone who wonders, yes, you can. You just need to track the time to make the Slave Rebellion event come up at the appropriate time on turns 4 and 8, and in the unusual circumstance, turn 12. Either by using the event deck, but only as like a timer, or by some other means of recording the time.
Okay.
Since the Slave Rebellion is normally in addition to another event, there is no balance concerns. If you want to duplicate the thematic rebellion rules that I just read a few minutes ago, make the Slave Rebellion happen on turns 3, 4, or 5. Roll a 6-sided die on turn 3. On a 1 or 2, it happens then. If it doesn't, roll the die on turn 4. It happens on a 1, 2, or 3. And if it hasn't happened yet, it will happen automatically on turn 5.
Okay.
So, to anyone who was
cool.
curious about how that worked out, there you go.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, we do have people that play without events, so I think that's very helpful.
You're looking at him.
And I'm talking to him.
Hey, to be fair, though, every game I play with you is a game that has events in it. So.
And you don't shuffle the deck.
Nope.
So we always get farmers. Here's looking at you, buddy.
Love you too.
Smooches.
Like I said, that's like my one saving grace.
I always get farmers.
Not the farmers thing, but unlike so many of you, I take on the event deck unedited.
That's true.
Most of you don't even do that.
Take out Strange Madness. Take out Outpaced.
Nope, it's all or nothing, baby.
No.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and look at level 3, which, by the way, look how much complexity, look how much depth, look how much intricacy has happened.
We're only at level 2. That's what I'm saying.
What the heck?
It's all in the front with them.
Okay. At level 3, they go to difficulty 7. Once again, the difficulty spikes by 2. It went from 3 to 5, and now 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Yikes, man, it is just escalating fast. They get another fear card, so now the fear deck has 11 cards. 4, 4, 3. So, your fight at this level will be in the early and mid game. They acquire the perk Early Plantations. During setup on each board, add 1 town to the highest numbered land without a town. Then, add a town to land number 1. Hey,
what?
Cool, 2 more towns.
What? 2 more towns? No!
Too bad this says during setup and the sprawling plantations triggered before setup. So, hey, look, 2 more towns!
I'm just keeping track. So, the island starts with 1 town, then we add a town, then we add another town. So, if you're playing solo, you only have 4 towns to work with.
Yeah, that's 3 that you start with per board. Yeah, you're approaching 50% already. You haven't even started.
Like, when you're doing the additional loss condition, you're like, okay, 7. I can work with 7.
Right.
Nope, starting with 4.
Yep. So now we have 3 out of 4 per player already. But at least it's a setup thing, and I don't have to remember it from turn to turn.
We do like those rules.
Yep.
For level 4, they only go up 1.
Yes. Thankfully, for the rest of these levels,
just
the
1.
difficulty is just by 1.
Like we said, it's all on the front half. So it goes up to 8. Now we have 12 fewer cards, and even 4.
That's fair.
This perk is called Triangle Trade. Whenever invaders build a coastal city, at a town.
Oh, come on!
To an adjacent land with a few number of towns. Just keep adding towns.
Stop it!
This didn't come up a lot for us.
No, honestly, it didn't. And we'll get into why
We'll
and
go into
how,
our game.
But,
this one just stinks.
We don't really need to tell you why this one is bad. It's more towns. They're spamming towns. We don't want towns.
So you're like, maybe I don't have to worry about cities in this game. I just need to focus. No, especially if it's on the coast, you need to worry about never letting a city build because it just spouts.
Remember how Habsburg was like, it's all about the towns. And cities, it's like,
yeah.
Here, well, you kind of can't do
about
that.
both, yeah.
You really can't ever have something that's like really nice for you.
No reprieve.
Yeah, there's not very many reprieves.
No.
Moving on to level 5. Once again, their difficulty increases by 1 to 9. They acquire another fear card, and it's in the middle at Terror 2. So it is 4, 5, 4. Oh, I hate this one. Slow Healing Ecosystem. When you remove Blight from the board, put it onto this adversary card instead of the Blight card. As soon as you have 3 Blight per player on the adversary card here, then you can move it all back to the Blight card.
So here is their other niche thing that makes France. This is like the thing.
Other anxiety-inducing, pressuring, mind-crippling thing that I hate.
This is why that stage 2 escalation choice is becoming less appealing.
Yes.
Because if you add Blight, it's harder to get it back to the card.
So, Slow Healing Ecosystem means that after they Blight and after you heal it, which sometimes you don't even heal a Blight. Sometimes you just, okay, I accept it.
Yeah.
So even if you do go out of your way to heal a Blight and you did spend a card play,
it doesn't go back to the
on
card.
Getting rid of a Blight, it doesn't go back to the card. It can, but 3 per player.
Yeah. And that's hard.
That's hard. Most of the time, depending on who you're playing with, this means that you are guaranteed to blight the island. Because even if you are doing good enough of a job to heal the Blight, if it wasn't early enough, then it's gonna take a while to stack 3 per player.
Especially if stage 2 escalation is forcing you to add a Blight. Say you don't have a choice, you only have buildings in the shown land. You're blighting.
You know, isn't it too bad that the Blight cards have 2 per player when you put it on there with Blight cards?
Well, errata, we get 1 extra. And Blight on the island. It's a difficult
slow
dance.
Healing Ecosystem is pretty much only ever fine when you don't play with a Blight card. If you play with a Blight card,
you're probably gonna Blight.
You're probably screwed. Depending on how you're handling France.
Yeah.
So this means that your margin of error is way smaller.
Well, we already have the towns thing that's stacking up. And now, we're gonna lose to Blight or to towns. It's almost like a guaranteed loss.
Yeah. Your room for mistakes gets a lot thinner because now you have a significantly more consistent possibility for that Blight card flipping.
I want to say this. Out of all the lost conditions, I feel this one the most.
Seriously, this counts in my head as an additional loss condition.
England, I can see if things are going to be like more than 7 buildings in a land. You can kind of be like, okay, guys, let's focus on this.
But sprawling plantations paired with slow healing ecosystem, for me, is just the most anxiety-inducing. I know we've said that before.
What a 1-2 punch from an adversary.
It's a 1-2 punch, yeah. If they have more than 7 towns per player, you lose. But also, healing Blight is pretty much ineffective.
Yeah. Unless it's our game.
Unless it's our game. But we'll get into that. Okay. There's still hope.
Level 6. And here we are at the 10 difficulty. We all know. 14 fear cards this time. 4, 5-5.
Interesting. Your fight will be in the mid to late game.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of adversaries have their fewest fear cards at the end, which means after you slog through the early and mid game,
Maybe you can
at least
win, yeah. Get a fear victory.
Here, though, it's slanted in the opposite way.
I don't know if you're getting a fear victory against them. It'd be difficult. Anyway, this perk is called Persistent Explorers. After resolving an Explorer card on each board, add one Explorer to land without any. Fear card effects never remove Explorers. If one would, you may instead push that Explorer. So here's one you can slip through the cracks. It doesn't say anything about event cards.
That's right. Of these two effects, the former is significantly worse than the latter. So the bad part is, on each board, add an Explorer to a land without any after resolving an Explorer card. Oh, look! More Explorers!
One trick that we would do in our game, you would clear out a land so it wouldn't build, and it would be empty, and then we would have to add one, so you would add that one Explorer to that then empty land, and then to the Han, they would just kill it off. So anyway, there was just like one trick we were doing. We were just trying to add it to, like, if a land was clear and it was about to ravage.
You have to get smart with where they're going. Yep. And don't forget the escalation effect, because sometimes you will choose to add a town so that when an Explorer goes in there, it doesn't have
That's true.
an extra one from the level 2, because you have
choices here.
I know. You do have a lot of choices.
Of like what to do, where to place people.
They all suck, but you get choices.
Because you can pick where that Explorer goes.
You do have some control.
Yeah.
You do have some agency with this adversary. That latter part actually ain't so bad. Fear cards can never remove Explorers. Getting finicky here, and never said I couldn't destroy them.
And we had a lot of events that would take them away with
that
like a beast
honestly
or something.
wasn't so bad. The biggest punch that hits you here at level 6 is after resolving an Explorer card, add another Explorer to a land without any. That's the big one.
Yeah.
The fear card's not removing Explorers. It's fine, because if you would, you can instead push them.
Yeah.
It's not the worst. I don't even think it ever happened on ours.
I don't think we had any fear cards that actually dealt with Explorers.
And it's entirely possible, even with 14 fear cards, that might not ever even happen.
Yeah.
Seriously. It can. It certainly can. It is up to healthy statistical chance that it will. But
we just didn't run into it.
Yeah, for us, I don't think it ever happened.
No. But that is France, the plantation colony.
That's right. There they are.
Things that stand out to me about France, having just played them recently in our game, they hit you quick.
Mm-hmm.
They just come out the gates fast, and like we said, there's already a bunch of towns starting on the islands.
Right.
And then I feel like we kind of get stronger. The mid-game wasn't too bad. The spirits are getting strong, we have a handle. But then there's like that tug-of-war where in the stage 3, when they're exploring to 2 different types of lands, that's like, what, 4 explorers is going out, and then I don't want to spoil it, but we had 20 explorers on our board near the end of the game.
Right, on the final turn.
In the final turn. So it's like...
do or die, baby!
They throw out a couple quick punches. Maybe you can recover. Maybe you lose early.
Right.
You can recover, but if you don't finish them off quick, you might lose fast.
So now that we've gone and looked at each of their levels, I feel as if every adversary, to some regard, has this, and that is extreme misfortune, depending on which cards showed up in the very first stage 1. And here, Triangle Trade and Early Plantations has a really nasty potential bad thing that can happen to you. So their level 3 ability, Early Plantations, was the one that said add a town to land number 1. Hey John, what was land number 1?
A coast.
That's a coastal land. Triangle Trade says whenever invaders build a coastal city, add a town to an adjacent land with the fewest towns. If you're really unlucky and land number 1 gets built on very early, that could really hit you hard.
It could be like an insta-loss.
So when you say that they can come out of the gate really fast, I 100% agree.
Like turn 2 or 3, you could have already lost.
Oh, that sucked. Oh, hey, and on the thematic board, that actually might happen.
Oh, yeah, you might just lose.
Because there's a lot more peeps on the thematic board.
Here's a hot take. Talk this out with me.
Okay.
So we played Brandenburg, Prussia, and we talked about how fast they are. They have 8 turns because they take away so many cards in the invader deck. I also think France basically only has 8 turns.
I feel it.
If you don't beat them before they're building in 2 different types of lands, all of those explorers they're sending out, I think by turn 9 and the stage 3 invader, I think you lost. Honestly.
It's not as structured
like,
as Brandenburg, Prussia's is.
Where they literally lose because
right, and they have their gameplay portioned out and it's easy to track, but the timer is about the same. But
it feels like it.
Right, here you don't see the timer. But you feel
You
it!
feel it.
Oh, you feel it!
Because I don't want all those explorers building in 2 different types of lands. I hated when coastal lands showed up.
You will quickly know if things are getting out of hand. France will be kind enough to let you know that they have the advantage if they have it. Because you're going to be like, why
you
are
lost.
there 8 towns on my board?
Wait, I lost.
I had 2 a turn ago. So, let's go ahead and talk about our game.
Yes.
Oh, it was so
Yes.
good. Oh, this was one of the best games we've ever had. Like, period. Honestly, this was one of the most satisfying, and honestly, this felt so good because we raked them over the coals.
This might have been one of our longest games.
Maybe.
Not in a bad way. I feel like our decision making
in conversations.
In conversations during the growth phase or even like in between fast and slow phase.
Yeah.
We were just like, we need to figure this out or they're building everywhere.
Oh, dude, this was a dominant game. So who were we, John? Because we were an unlikely pair.
I am going to have to break down foreboding during this episode.
Spoilers!
I played Foreboding Shadows.
And I played Sharp Fangs.
Behind
and
the
y'all, this honestly, for me, it was easily the best Fangs game I have ever had in my entire life.
So
and from what I can tell, this was Foreboding Shadows' best performance I have ever seen.
Buddy. Thanks, buddy.
Oh my gosh! We destroyed them. It was great. I cannot tell you how many times we're like, okay, we do this, which thwarts that, we do this, which stops that, we do this, which stops that, and, next turn,
we're doing okay.
I think next turn, and it felt like a normal adversary.
Don't get us wrong, we got down to like 2 or 3 towns.
Yeah, no, it wasn't
we were blighting.
Yeah. It's not 100% calm.
No.
My point being was, for difficulty 10, this felt great. Oh.
You had said, compared to Sweden, this felt easier.
Sweden felt so much harder.
Which is difficulty 8. I guess it's just like how the game plays out, what cards you pull, what spirits you play, what events you have. So it definitely can vary.
Oh, yeah.
One quick
variance
thing.
Is a big factor here.
One quick thing. I have like this quick diatribe case for Foreboding Shadows that I'll just like run into. But for Sharp Fangs, it says in their summary of powers, you've talked about this, fear is the top, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like pretty even.
Yep.
The fear, I don't think I agree with that. I think fear is a nice perk for Fangs.
Honestly, I would be much more...
I think it's offense, dude.
...content if control, fear, offense were like...
Even?
Even.
Okay. I think offense might be a smidge, at least in our game.
With the way I play Fangs, offense is pretty freaking high.
All right, walk with me...
on a journey to this awesome game. Stay a while.
Stay a while. I'm just going to talk about Foreboding for a second.
Go for it.
It gives the 2nd and 8.
Yeah.
You get range 2 now.
Oh, gosh.
Range 2 away. Other powers can target a land if you have enough air. And then fear generated in that land till the end of the turn. It's not just in the fast. It just says until the end. So slow phase counts too. With 1 moon, if any fear generated, including destruction from building... 1 moon.
1 moon.
If anyone generates a fear in a land, you get to push either explorers or towns. And then if you have 2 fire, you get 1 bonus fear. Nice. And then the last tier is just a middle finger. You'll never get it. So don't. It's just, it never comes up. It's one of those things for shadows where you won't get this.
Yeah. But if you're a shadows player, you're used to that.
I think it's like 2 extra fear.
Yeah.
But you won't get it.
And what speed is that power, John?
It's a fast power.
Oh.
So good. Wait, Foreboding. All right, here's my case for Foreboding. Ryan, when you were talking about green is your fun 5, you like that green makes other spirits like itself.
Yeah.
Makes it faster growing. And we've just talked about this kind of like makes a spirit on a higher level.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ocean turns other spirits into offensive players.
If they're control.
Yep. Lightning in general makes people fast like them. Shifting Memory, people can get majors like them or get elemental thresholds like them. Many Minds, you can make other people's presence defensive with Boon of Swarming Bedevilment. Foreboding Shadows can turn basically anyone into a controller.
Yeah. Especially fear users.
Out of all the spirits in the game, only 2, I think, don't become controllers with Foreboding Shadows. Fractured Days and Finder, they don't have powers that do damage or do fear.
And in Fractured's case, you can just find one.
That's true. You can just find one. But every other starting character can either do fear, like you said, generate fear.
Well, here's the thing. Fractured already has control stuff.
And so is Finder.
Already has control stuff.
So basically, Lightning,
right, because
I can
the
do
people
damage
who
here.
It can't make controllers are controllers already.
I think Foreboding Shadows can make anyone good. Because, hey, we're targeting this land.
That's a good point.
Generate any fear here.
Yeah.
I mean, Ocean generates fear.
And how many fear powers are in the major and minor power decks? Even if you're not a fear-generating spirit. And hey, if you kill something, hey, fear.
Yeah,
So-
Lightning's good. Thunder Speaker's good.
Right.
All right, one more thing I counted. There's 100 minor powers.
Mm-hmm.
34 of them generate fear. They do something else.
Yeah.
They like generate fear, push, generate fear,
Sure.
add a strife,
Sure.
remove blight. But basically, 1 in 3, when you're pulling a card for Foreboding Shadows, you have a control power too.
Yeah.
Because that fear can then push a town.
And that's just with fear.
That's just with fear.
Right.
Not including what other effects.
Ignoring straight up control cards or damage cards or any combination of fear.
I just counted any card that's like 1 fear, 2 fear. And if it's 2 fear, you get to move a town.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like my case. I think Foreboding might be the strongest controller in the game.
Oh, hey, coming from you, that's actually a really heavy claim.
Foreboding can take down cities, crops wither and fade.
Yeah.
And then can push them because there's fear from that card.
Yeah.
That 2 fear can then push that town that it just made.
It is a functional city movement.
Functional city movement.
There are 2 people that get functional city movements, Lure and...
Foreboding Shadows.
Or just Shadows, but
or just
Foreboding
Shadows,
yes.
Foreboding
does it even better.
You can do damage, find or cancel unless you find a card, and River struggles with cities, or at least early game.
Yeah.
And for River, what I've noticed in my plays, you don't generate a whole lot of fear.
Not really.
You're just pushing things around.
Right.
Until like Massive Flooding Tier 3.
Right. I was about to say River's secondary focus is damage, but not fear.
But not fear.
So the damage is incredible, but still not having fear, depending on what your team build is, I usually like to have at least 1 fear spirit on the team.
You need a fear spirit with River.
Right. Yep.
So what if Foreboding can do fear, can do control, and oh, by the way, still has damage from its original innate, where you can destroy explorers, and if you get it tiered up enough, you can do 3 damage to take down a city.
Right.
So maybe I'm just like on this high from our last game.
Maybe.
Probably. But that was like my case for Foreboding Shadows. I think the potential, just like 1 moon, target a land, anyone generating fear in that land can push. That was my case.
That was your case?
That was my case for Foreboding Shadows. A strong spirit, I think.
So we will continue to make comments on this moving on in the future with life, and that is the ridiculous power spike that Shadows receives with just the Foreboding card is astronomical, and it cannot be ignored. Foreboding Shadows and base Shadows are so drastically different.
It's incredible.
It is insane. Foreboding Shadows went ham in this game. And we'll elaborate on how, but oh my gosh. If you ever thought Shadows was lame, look at Foreboding. Oh my gosh.
That extra innate just really changes
it. Seriously changes up, because how many of your cards have moon on it?
All of them.
All of them. And didn't that one effect come in at 1 moon?
1 moon. 1 moon triggers it.
1 moon. So let's go ahead and talk about the game. We had a Terror 3 victory on turn 8. So,
like I said, you gotta win it by turn 8. Or at least try to.
About there, yeah. Thereabouts. And we did.
Yeah.
I myself was on board C. I really like board C for Fangs because I can get into the middle pretty fast. And generally speaking, I feel as if that helps me.
Because Fang starts in a jungle or with a...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you can spawn anywhere where there's a beast or in the highest number jungle.
Okay.
So this means that depending on the board state, depending where the jungles are, you could be on the coast, in the middle, on the...
I feel like jungles are always
inland.
like at the edge, far away, like
yeah,
land
well, the
8 or
highest
something.
number jungle is going to be your most inland land. So land 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But with board C, it's more in the middle. So I kind of prefer that.
I started on board E because Shadows also starts in the highest number jungle, but also in land 5, which was a mountain that was touching all of the coast, which I liked.
Yes, I love that. Just on the sly, I also like board E for lure, but that's neither here nor
Good
there.
point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we had it arranged where one of my beasts was touching your board.
And that was actually incredibly important.
Because I don't use beasts.
Right, because you don't use beast, but my starting turn was phenomenal. I was able to take that beast, pull him in because of Prey on the Builders, which allows me to gather a beast.
Yes.
Stop the build that was happening on that board.
Yes.
Then I ranging hunted that beast.
What?
To push him on turn 1 to the next land. And on turn 2, since I had pushed him enough, I pulled him again with ranging hunt, and I killed build my starting city on turn 2.
One of the biggest critiques I see about Fangs, can't attack buildings.
Right.
Can't take out cities.
Very poorly equipped to take out buildings.
I have to disagree. At least how you play Fangs.
With how I play Fangs and with how aggressive I play Fangs. And by the way, everybody, I highly encourage you to play Fangs as aggressively as I do. And I'll tell you some of my tips for how I play Fangs, because when played this way, I really do think that Fangs benefits from this aggressive play style, and their power level increases notably because of it.
Yeah.
But killing my starting city turn 2, that was phenomenal. I only have towns now.
Yeah.
Do you know how great it is as Fangs to have your city dead on turn 2 and you're like, okay, what's next?
All weapons free.
Now I can descend upon these schmucks. Oh, it was great. And I was able to do that because I was able to go and grab the beast from your board.
Yeah, I wasn't using it.
Pull him in. And it was so great because I had manipulated that same beast with multiple cards. Quick, pull him in because of Prey on the Builders. Resolve Prey on the Builders. Cool. It's done. Beast has done his job. The effect is in play. Then, Ranging Hunt level 1. Move that same beast to another land. He already did his thing. Cool. Next turn, let's gather that beast from that one land that I pulled him with. He went from the edge of your board
to all the way across the island.
Across the island.
It's
that
incredible.
bro moved across 3-4 lands. Like, yoink.
I want everyone listening at home to look at Prey the Builders and understand how stopping builds against France is the most pivotal thing you can do against them.
So, we're gonna get into why Fangs was such a wonderful counter, and if you don't have time to finish the entire episode today, let me leave you with this. The fact that Ranging Hunt can stop so many builds by, killing everything.
In the fast.
And then Prey on the Builders
Also
stops
fast.
the other build. Bam. There you go. You can stop both builds. One with Ranging Hunt, one with Prey on the Builders.
Pack it up. We're done. Episode done. Here you go. Let's play Sharp Fangs.
The capability to do both of those is insane. And we are going to elaborate, don't worry. So, as we've been saying, in this game, Prey on the Builders was clutch.
I'm trying to think what the MVP was. That was pretty big.
Oh my goodness. Honestly,
that was pretty big. Game saving at times. We were down to
when it
low
came
towns.
to Prey on the Builders, Terrifying Chase, or Ranging Hunt, I actually don't know which one was MVP.
Ranging
and
Hunt
that's
was huge.
Strange because almost always Ranging Hunt is the MVP. But Prey on the Builders was so clutch against France, being able to stop them. Because, hey, that whole thing with, they build and now all of those explorers turn into bad guys?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a shame if I just... No.
Nothing builds?
No.
What?
Nothing builds?
Nothing builds?
Nothing! And so, if you can stop all of those builds from happening throughout the game, it is going to help you immensely. Oh my goodness.
I feel like Sharp Fangs is the thinking man's Thunder Speaker.
Honestly, yeah. In some ways, less training wheels.
Oh.
And in some ways, more training wheels.
Okay.
It's different. I would say it's an alternate Thunder Speaker.
I think you
is
have
how
to...
I would prefer to say it, because Thunder Speaker has the difficulty of, hey, if Dahan dies, so do you.
Sure.
Not so much with Sharp Fangs. If beasts die, you're like, I'd really prefer they don't die. And trust me, you do not want them to die.
No.
But you can spawn more. It's not the end of the world. On the other hand, there are a lot more Dahan to use at game start than Beast at game start. So it's going to be harder because you got to get your forces to bear.
And I feel like you have to...
I know.
Angry Bears?
Know. Oh, come on.
No! I feel like... With Sharp Fangs, I think Thunder Speaker has able to move Dahan a little bit easier with Sharp Fangs. I feel like you had to plan out maybe 1 or 2 turns ahead. That's why I think it's more of a
Ranging
thinking...
Hunt and Prey on the Builders are your beast
and
manipulation.
if you get beast manipulation cards in the deck.
Yep.
But it's kind of cooler in my mind that you have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But again, you don't lose those beasts though.
Yeah, at least your beasts don't die unless it's events or Russia.
And I don't see the complaint. I'm just going to keep talking about Fangs. Go for it. I don't see the complaints that this spear doesn't scale towards the end of the game. We'll talk about... Like
I said before, anything that prevents stuff really carries with high potency to high difficulty.
And who did the most damage in our game near the end?
Oh, easily Fangs.
Oh my god.
And we'll talk about your big turns, because you got up high in the damage. But, I don't know. I think the complaints are not what they are.
So, in many ways, this was a game worth recording. And I would love to have another one of these games streamed
I wish
sometimes.
we would have.
Yeah, because this was just Fangs, in my experience, at its peak. I have never seen Fangs work this good. I mean, everything was clicking. You know, when you're playing a game of Spirit Island and you're trying various strategies and some things are like, okay, that's clicking. Other things, I kind of wanted this to happen, but turned out it didn't really work out, so I just have to do this instead.
I've had find your games like that, where I'm just like, I have this all planned out, and I'm going to push this city here, and it's like, nope, we're going here.
Yeah. Everything went according to plan. Everything. And there were times where I had to change my plan. All right, we're doing this now, we're doing this now.
In Spirit Island,
and,
of course.
It felt so satisfying, because it was just a smooth running machine, and we were generating fear, we were killing bad guys, we were evading so many adversary effects.
All this happening in the fast phase.
Yeah.
I want that to be
That's going to be big.
Clear.
Yeah. So, one thing that was really interesting, when it comes to playing Fangs appropriately, correctly, playing them well, efficiently, effectively, whatever adjective you want to use, of the list of things that pop into my head, the top 2 things come to mind. There are 2 things that come to mind very quickly. And one of them makes sense, and I'll get into it later, that being get beasts out there. Sounds simple, but oh my goodness, I cannot overstate how critical it is to get beasts.
That's your damage.
Out there.
That's your damage.
Second thing, the proper use of Terrifying Chase is probably what separates the good Fangs players from the bad Fangs players, or maybe the mediocre ones.
Okay. Or the ones who don't understand the spirits.
If you tell me that Fangs isn't good or you're bad with Fangs, no joke, I automatically assume you are either not using Terrifying Chase ever, or you're not using it as effectively as you should.
Ryan, there's all these towns and explorers in this blighted land. I can't ranging hunt there. What do I do?
Behold, John, Terrifying Chase does wonderful things for Sharp Fangs and is incredibly pivotal to their kit. So, Terrifying Chase is a slow power. It is a range 0, so a land that you are in. In any land, target land can be any, which is great. It says push 2 of either explorers, towns, or Dahan.
Pretty good.
Right off the bat, what's important here is that regardless of how many beasts you have, you can shove people regardless of if you have beasts there or not.
You just have to be there.
However, you may push another 2 explorers, towns, or Dahan per beast in target land.
This is where that gets silly.
This means that you can get 4 people that are moving if you have a single beast. 6 if you have 2.
One of the strongest control cards, unique powers in the game.
8 if you have 3 beasts.
One of the strongest.
You can shove a ton of people.
River's like, I can do wash away and push 3 things.
Right. You are moving explorers.
Yeah.
You're moving towns.
Dahan.
You're moving Dahan. That is so freaking nice. Then, if you push any invaders to fear, great. So great. You need that fear, no matter what the game.
If you're playing with Foreboding and they targeted that land,
hey,
that
wait
2 fear
minute.
can push more things. Foreboding for the win.
Foreboding for the win. So, Terrifying Chase is one of the biggest loopholes to getting around your blight restrictions.
Preach.
Because you can't use Ranging Hunt in a land with blight in it. But guess what? You can use the second half of Ranging Hunt that says push a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing a beast means that they move out of a target land, which means that Ranging Hunt can shove a beast into a blighted land. Because the target land could still be blight free.
Of course.
So now beast goes in there. In your growth option, you go and place your presence where a beast is. Since you just pushed a beast the turn prior in there, now you can do Terrifying Chase, or like you said, travel with them. Now Terrifying Chase can happen. You can shove them all out of there.
What a beautiful dance.
Now, if there's a city in there, the city will yet remain, but you can still go ahead and kill cities in other ways in your late game. Hopefully by then you found a blight removing card. I'm still not saying that you can't benefit from a blight removing card, because you definitely can, but use Terrifying Chase. That is your starting hand clutch loophole to getting around the blight restriction. And don't worry, it's so much easier than you think. Because when you look at Ranging Hunt, you are almost always looking at it for how can I stop what's about to happen.
Yes.
You can gather beast, you can do damage. Cool. Then, where am I pushing them? Usually, you are either A, pushing them to where you are going to Ranging Hunt again, Or B, you are pushing them to where you are about to terrifying chase. And even if you don't have a beast in the target land, if you are there, you can still shove two, either explorers or a town. Do you know how nice it was to have a land that had my presence but no beast? And like, oh no, they explored with 2 explorers because it was clear. Both of them ran away.
Gone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that just immediately fixed and I got 2 fear for it? Why, yes. Why, yes, it was.
Or even if it was their escalation, they get 2 explorers plus a bonus town. Oh, by the way, you can push that too if you have beasts on that land.
Terrifying Chase was a dark horse MVP this game. I have never used Terrifying Chase as much as this game. And ironically, I was a bit stressed for energy this game. And I actually went top track a little bit more than I usually do because I was constantly using this one more often. I used Terrifying Chase more than I did Too Near the Jungle. Why? Because Terrifying Chase lets me handle 2 or 4 invaders.
Oh, and guess what France does? They multiply.
They have a lot of towns and a lot
of explorers.
Too Near the Jungle only gets rid of a single explorer. But Terrifying Chase lets me handle, sure, it doesn't kill them, but lets me handle multiple invaders, whether they be towns or explorers.
It was so cool to watch. In the fast, you had Ranging Hunt do something. Like you said, then you would have Prey and the Builders also stop something else. So then they would explore. And then in the slow, like you said, you had nope. You would put out all the fires. All the fires. You were stopping everything.
Prey on the Builders noped a build.
Yes.
Terrifying Chase noped a build because in the slow phase I shoved 2 explorers that just showed up. But Ranging Hunt noped a lot.
Whatever was left over, basically. Whatever was straggler,
was
you help out my board.
Yeah, Ranging Hunt was the flex. And so I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but I have never pushed as much Dahan with Terrifying Chase as I did in this game, and it was incredibly important. But here's one funny thing, y'all. I spammed Beast as much as I possibly could. Oh, that's the norm. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But I needed to, because you always need to. My card draw this game wasn't all that great. I wasn't finding any Beast spawning cards, and I wasn't really finding any defend cards. You were finding all of those.
What was funny is I picked up Domesticated Animals Go Berserk, which is a defend card, and a Beast spawning card. But
hey,
John,
I was grateful that at least one of us had it.
And I was using it.
Yeah.
It's like, but John, it's range 0. Not with foreboding. That's range 2, wherever I want it to be.
One thing that was great, we'll get into this, is every now and then John would add a beast on his board that he defended with. And I was able to do a Kobe Frenzied Assault and sacrifice that one beast to do 2 damage really quick. Pop a town. We need to keep the towns whack-a-moling.
Pop those towns, yeah.
So, and it was great to do that. So, here is one of the key pillars to my aggressive Fang strategy that I think you all should at least consider. If you don't want to adopt it because you think it's too aggressive, fine. I don't want to violate your preferences. But trust me, you can probably be a little bit more aggressive than you think.
What's kind of funny is, yes, this is like a France analysis episode, but it's kind of turning into like foreboding sharp
I know, but hey, that's fine. That's fine.
We're still Spirit Island. It's a Spirit Island episode.
That's right.
Buckle up.
I had 3 presents the whole game.
Yeah.
3 presents.
Hang on. So I did make you, when we were down to our last flights, I was just like, maybe get a 4th one out there. Who knows if Tipping Point shows up?
Well, you never know. So my next clarification, John, since you interrupted me, was about to discuss that, and that is usually if I have a really good card that requires me to use Sacred Sites, I may go into a 4th or a 5th presence on the board. If I don't, I usually will go with 3 presents for the entire game. I am converting my own presence into a beast every single turn with the exception of 3 presents. Yes, you can make it work. It's not that bad. Because guess what you're doing 24/7? Moving beasts. Guess what you can do when you move beasts? You can go ahead with them. Honestly, I had at least 1 presence always on a jungle. Always do that, and I usually would move my other one back into a jungle. So I usually had 2 on each jungle and 1 that was just running around doing stuff.
Right, because you have a couple cards that need presence on jungle.
Near the end of the game, we were getting close to flipping the blight card. Okay.
I pleaded in that with situation. I'm like, Ryan, add a 4th.
Fine. I was like, fine, I'll go ahead and add a 4th. And like I said,
it was such a good game. I just didn't want to lose, insta-lose.
No, it's fine. And that's what I usually do. If we're close to flipping, I usually will put a 4th or 5th in case it's tipping point. That's never happened, but it's always good to prepare because that one time that it does happen, you'll be very sad that you didn't do this contingency. Yeah. Or like I said, if I have Sacred Site cards that I really want to keep, then sure, I'll have 4 or 5. But what's so incredibly important here is is...
Wait, hang on, time out. I've seen you make sacred sites out of nothing. Because, like you said, you can move beasts along.
Yep.
I've seen you, like...
You can make it work.
You can make it work where you didn't have a sacred site to start the turn, and then you would, like, do ranging hunt and move them presents. You're like, here's a sacred site.
Now it's legal.
So, I think that's cool, too. That's another little trick that people can learn.
Yeah,
I'm sharing all your secrets, sorry.
Hey, no worries. That is what this podcast exists for.
That's true.
So, you've heard me in the past say this, and I'll say it again. Some spirits are sacred site users more than others. Some really don't care. And some spirits can be, they can make it work. And this is one of them. For example, Mist is another, not really a sacred site user in some plays because you want to be very spread, but in other strategies, you're gathering presence to do Unnerving Paw because you get to defend one per presence.
Sure.
So, in that instance, you do become a sacred site user, and with how ridiculously easy it is to move around with Mist, you can make it work.
Another mobile spirit that you can just make
mobile spirits can make it work. Downpour can make it work.
Yeah, Finder,
Starlight can make it work.
Finder
can make it work. Heck, even Serpent can make it work.
Sure, good point.
So, anyway, but spamming beasts as often as I possibly could. So, Teeth Gleam from Darkness is usually your main way of getting beasts out there. But seeing how you have to reclaim it, you're going to get it probably for a while anyway, once every other turn.
Yeah.
Converting my own presence into beast is my number one source of beasts.
That was your main way.
Do it. It's not so bad, y'all. But wait, it says that once you convert them, you can never get your presence back. Who cares? It's fine. I understand your reservations if you think that that's really dangerous. It's not so bad.
I think maybe people aren't used to mobile spirits like that. Like, you can be anywhere you want.
The terminology, you can never get that presence back.
It's scary. It's scary, yeah.
You have 13 presents, okay? You have 11 on your starting board that you can get on your tracks that you can get out there. You're fine. And trust me, once you have the numbers out there, you are going to be so grateful that you did this. Why? Because I didn't find any beast spawning cards until like mid-game.
Yeah, you didn't.
And so all the beasts I had out there were from Teeth Gleam from Darkness and converting myself. By mid-game, I had like 9, 10, 11 beasts out there. Just from consistently converting myself. Drop a presence in a land with beast, immediately turn that one into a beast. Hey, look, another beast. It's not so bad. You can work with just 3 presents on the board. It's fine. Sure, it may take some getting used to, maybe a game or two to really get in the flow of it, but trust me, converting your own presence into beast at this drastic extreme means that your ranging hunt isn't doing 1 or 2 damage all the time. It's doing 3, it's doing 7, it's doing 9,
What?
It's doing 5, it's doing 6. That is what it did in this game. That is why when you commit to this strategy, you're like, oh, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Besides, you can even have a presence linger out there. I did this. I had 3 presents out there. They were about to ravage in a land that I was in. Well, looks like I'm going to 2 presents. Turn that one into a beast. Matrix dodge that thing. Blight comes in. Beasts are fine. My next turn, I place a presence. Now I'm back to 3.
Ryan's patented.
Yeah, patented. Patent? Like the general. Patent.
Patent.
If you want to say the T, patented, yes, you can say it that way. But a lot of English speakers don't say the T, so you can say patent.
I'm going to say this. Ryan's trademarked Matrix style. Leave all that
Shortcuts. You are married to Laura. I see the cheater in you.
We're going to counterpoint and not say that word.
Yes. My patented rule of 3. Sorry, my trademarked rule of 3 presents.
And then Matrix dodge as well.
And the Matrix dodge. Oh, it's so great. So yeah, I had 3 presents all game. Sometimes it even got to 2 because I converted my own dude, turned into a beast. I'm fine. Then next turn, place a present, back up to 3, baby.
One observation I've had, it's just fun to like watch you play things. When you are destroying that much, you don't really need to worry about blights.
No. I'm sorry. You kill everyone before they did anything. Kind of reminiscent of Wildfire.
When you're doing that much damage with all those beasts, you don't need to worry about ranging on blight restrictions because there's nothing to blight the island. It's all dead.
Right. And the thing is this aggressive play style really helps you with that whole blight restriction. But what about all the blight restrictions? Well, hey, if you go with this aggression, guess what? Your ranging hunt does more damage, which means that they never blighted. So that means ranging hunt happens more often and for higher damage.
So you can take on those cities
Right.
that like, sharp fangs can't attack cities. Not true.
Not true. So, by game's end, we had 16 beasts. I actually had 18, but I sacrificed 2 to Frenzied Assault.
Frenzied Assault. The innate that's not really there, that you don't really look at until
I
like...
actually really dig Frenzied Assault because that allows a beast that already did damage with Ranging Hunt in the fast phase to do 2 additional and get bonus
That's
fear.
true. I feel like it doesn't come on until
I
like...
usually get Frenzied Assault...
mid to late?
Yeah.
Mid-game?
Yeah, mid-game.
Okay.
And I usually get at level 1. Level 1 is very powerful.
Yeah.
You get an extra 2 damage for 1 beast,
Yeah.
which is great because usually you only get 1 damage per beast. Now 1 beast is doing 2. I usually don't get level 2 because we've usually won by then. But also because it requires a second fire, which you do not have.
You need
to get level
a card.
2, Frenzied Assault, you must find another fire card, which is fine. But that will allow you to do 3 damage, which means that you can exchange 1 beast for a city. Bam! It's dead. You even get 2 bonus fear for it. That's 4 fear.
Even
killing
if the
a city.
land is blighted.
Yeah.
Frenzied Assault doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
It just needs to have the beast there.
Yep. Frenzied Assault is very nice, very powerful, but it doesn't happen all the time, which is okay because Ranging Hunt is the crutch that you are leaning on.
That is what Sharp Fangs is, in my opinion.
So, I did get Guardian Serpents halfway through the game, and that is a fantastic card because it can be either defend or it can be beast spawning. So, the unfortunate thing is that in order for it to be a defense card, it requires you to have Sacred Sites, which I honestly prefer to have the beast spawning. I could have made it work with defense, but it was easier for me to click in this fast and loose high damage stuff.
You were doing more offense, and then with my Domesticated Animals Go Berserk, I was doing the defense because I was able to move Dahan.
I appreciated having the choice.
They were my
choice was either defense or offense plus fear.
Yeah.
And I chose offense plus fear.
Because I also could use that fear to move things. I picked up Visions of a Fiery Doom.
Oh, perfect. Perfect for Foreboding Shadows.
So we're talking about empty land, 2 explorers show up, then a town if it's the escalation.
Mm-hmm.
With Visions of a Fiery Doom, it's a fast power. It generates 2 fear if you have enough fire, which Foreboding Shadows does. But the card itself can either push an explorer or a town.
Right.
So that's nice. So you push a town, and then you have 2 fear. What can I do with those 2 fear?
Oh, hey, wait a minute.
Push 2 more explorers. It was just like, mwah.
You're pushing so many bad guys.
Pushing so much.
So many bad guys.
And then, if anyone does play Shadows, even base Shadows, Mantle of Dread, if you're playing with a mobile spirit, and I can target spirit and they can move towns and explorers,
yes,
it was fun to target you. You go into a land.
Mantle of Dread was
huge.
so useful. I don't think I've seen it this valuable.
Because I don't think I've ever played Shadows with such a mobile spirit as Sharp Fangs.
Getting into a spot, shoving bad guys. Multiple bad guys.
What that power does, it doesn't target a land, targets a spirit.
Right.
And they can push from their land and a town and explore.
Their land means a land that they have presence in, and I'm moving all over the place.
You were everywhere.
Right.
Oh, by the way, that card generates fear. So if I target that land with my 1 moon in the fast, and we already planned it out, I can push more things with that 2 fear.
And when the bad guys have so many numbers...
Oh, we're pushing.
We were pushing. Control was a big factor. Oh, look! Control, fear, and offense were clutch in this game, like so many of our other games.
That's true.
I think we found our style, John.
I think so. I'm getting more into fear. You have kind of like opened me up to the fear game. I was very focused on control early on.
Usually fear and control go together like bread and butter.
I do like it.
Like peanut butter and jelly. It's so great.
I wasn't doing as much damage. Like I said, got an early defend card. And then with my favors called due, I would gather into Han and then defend there. So that was really nice.
So here's what was really interesting. I told you that I didn't find a whole lot of defend cards.
You did not.
And it's true. So what this meant was every now and then they would blight on me. But here's what I found. I found Call to Tend.
Honestly, this right here, I think saved us the game.
I honestly think it did.
Yeah.
No, dead serious. Call to Tend allows you to manipulate Dahan, or it allows you to remove a blight in a land that has Dahan in it. I told you about 20 minutes ago that Terrifying Chase was used by me in this game to move Dahan more than I've ever used that card for.
Yeah.
This is why. I had Call to Tend removing blight 4 times. I used it. My starting blight and the 3 times that they blighted on my board. So that got the 3 additional blight on my board. So I didn't have defend cards, which means that they blighted every now and then, but don't worry. I sent a Dahan in there, and Call to Tend in tandem with Terrifying Chase allowed me to get a Dahan in there and then remove the blight. So the Dahan, they were the ultimate wingman for me. The beasts did all the damage, and the Dahan were removing the roadblocks. Go get him, buddy. Go get him, Fido. Go get him.
It's like they were fixing the land, so the beasts and the jaguars could like run across
in there.
it. Yeah.
Right. They cultivated the land so that it was healthy enough for me to just go in and destroy them.
I think it was also good to just let everyone know we didn't play a perfect game. Like Ryan said, we did blight a couple times. Like even as good as we were doing, we were low on towns. At times we blighted. It happens. It's a tough adversary.
Right.
We're not like the ultimate players, but blight comes through.
Right. And Call to Tend, I like that card for the fact that it can go in any land.
Yeah.
But it's strings attached because it will only remove a blight if a Dahan is there. Luckily, since the second half of the card says either remove a blight with a Dahan here or move some Dahan, you can use this card consistently, maybe if you're a character that has Reclaim 1, and move a Dahan one turn and then remove the blight there on another turn. It's not bad. But to get it to be really efficient, use another Dahan manipulation card on the same turn to move him there, then remove it.
Terrifying Chase.
Right. So, Call to Tend, usually for me, if I have it by myself, is pretty clunky. You know,
because usually when a land's blighted, the Dahan maybe died.
Right.
Like they're not there. They're not
or
there.
Or if it did work out, it was because it accidentally worked out. But if you have a Dahan manipulation card, Call to Tend gets so much better. Furthermore, I found Call to Migrate, which is honestly one of the best Dahan manipulation cards in the game.
In the minor power deck for sure.
Gather 3 Dahan, push 3 Dahan. This means you can take the same group of Dahan and move them 2 spaces.
What?
Because target the land ahead of them, pull them into that one.
There you go.
Then push them out of that one on the other side. So they moved twice. Fantastic card. It allowed me to move my Dahan with Call to Migrate, which meant that I could go and use Terrifying Chase on more invaders because I preferred to move invaders with that card, seeing how it gave me fear when I did so. So Call to Migrate, Call to Tend, and Terrifying Chase combined very, very well.
Remove 4 blight.
In tandem with your Mantle of Dread, we were shoving Dahan and bad guys constantly.
I think this is the most control we've had in a game.
We talked about how we evaded so much of France's adversary effects. This is honestly how.
Yeah.
With control. With control and
fast
the clutch ranging hunt that was killing everything. It worked out very well. So Call to Migrate, once I found it, became my bump set spike for Call to Tend. And then Terrifying Chase was my flex. Whether I needed it to move Dahan or whether I needed it to move bad guys, it was my flex. I preferred, like I said, to move bad guys for the fear, but I did need to do it at least twice or 3 times even for moving the Dahan. So, one thing that was really great was you got swallowed by the unwary, fully actualized twice.
2 times. Well,
that's big. No, seriously, I will see Shadows play a game where they never get it. Not even once.
My first card I picked up was Gift of Living Energy, and I was only focusing on me for that.
That's fine.
So I was gifting myself energy, so I was able to go bottom track and go after those plays.
Yeah.
So I did get to 4 plays, and I was able to, do 3 damage.
Hey, what speed is Swallowed by the Unwary?
It's fast.
Oh, hey, it's fast!
First, gather and explore in the fast, then destroy 2 fear.
Yes.
Then do 3 damage, 1 fear per invader you destroy.
It's fear, it's shoving, it's damage. It's
take,
all 3.
It can take on cities.
Yeah. Magnifique.
And then I did go for a major. I got Unleash a Torrent of Self-Owned Essence.
Yes.
It's a cheap card. It has...
asterisk on the word cheap there. Because it can be really pricey depending on how much money you throw at it.
I did have it thresholded, so I was able to use that money and do damage with it.
I like to think of this as the Iron Man card because you're doing a Iron Man copyright infringement unibeam attack from your chest, but it's also a lot better if you're freaking rich. Like Tony Stark. So.
It is kind of the Tony Stark
card. Iron Man card.
I always feel like this happens where you're like, I got no cards, and John's just like, nice, another one.
I know. I couldn't find anything, but I was able to basically dominate France with my starting hand.
You were. That is where Sharp Fang shines for me. And I don't see them as a low-tier spirit in the slightest at all.
And the thing that made me amazing was Dahan cards.
Who would have thought?
Albeit Guardian Serpents, but that was like mid to late game that I got it.
I think picking up a Blight manipulation removal card is so clutch for Sharp Fangs.
Getting a Dahan manipulation Blight removal card combo was
clutch.
Just so clutch. Now, one thing that really was beneficial was actually the events for Shadows. It wasn't really great for Fangs, which is fine. When we played against Russia, we had all of the Beast events. And it was insane
felt like
because you were many minds. You're like, look at all this free damage. We
I'm
only
so
got
destructive.
one. I know. Here, though, we only got one.
Yeah.
We only got one. It was nice, and it was on turn 2. It killed a lot of explorers.
It helped.
I will take it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But we had a single, and I mean a single, beast using event. But we had a lot of Dahan events. We had multiple coming of ages, which adds Dahan under certain varying
effects or
effects,
whatever like you need on the board. We were able to add Dahan.
And twice we were able to do the one where they dance in a land that you are in, and you get energy if you have enough Dahan in your lands, which we did.
I've never felt so rich as Shadows.
This helped Shadows so much.
Qualifier, I wouldn't say rich. It felt playable. I was able to play my cards. I won't say rich.
What helped you wasn't necessarily the energy as much as just additional Dahan out there. Why? Because you were able to outnumber bad guys.
Wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
Because Shadows has a card called Favors Called Due. Slow power, but gather up to 4. Whoa, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
If invaders are present and Dahan now outnumber them, 3 fear.
3 fear. That's a lot of fear in a 2-player game.
That's a lot
and
of
remember
fear.
the cheese that John was doing with Foreboding's effect and with Swallowed by the Unwary's effect.
What I would sometimes do, Ryan, I would play...
and Mantle of Dread's effect.
I would play Favors and Crops Wither and Fade.
And Crops Wither and Fade's effect.
So that's 5 fear. And I downgrade the city into a town, so everything's pushed out.
So we have extra Dahan coming in with convenient events.
Yeah.
We are controlling bad guys a lot. We are controlling Dahan a lot.
By the way, generating a lot of fear.
When you have a lot of bad guy control, good guy control, and extra Dahan coming in, triggering Favors Called Due was pretty much guaranteed.
Every time I played
Pretty much every time you played it. We had a fear card, I think, every turn.
Every turn.
And sometimes we even had 2.
Yeah, near the mid to late game, 2. I think our last turn we had 3.
3.
It was just like boom, boom, boom.
So you can see now how every single thing we did was synergistically feeding another thing. Whether it was Crops Wither and Fade that downgraded a bad guy who can now be pushed, and then we did Fear in that land, which means that Foreboding allows it to be pushed into a land that now has a bunch of Dahan, so that when I do Favors Called Due, now Dahan go in there, then they go outnumber them, bonus Fear, then I take those Dahan, move them around to a land that had Blight, I remove the Blight, now Ranging Hunt can go in there, do damage, bam, oh I killed someone, this is another turn, now that I killed someone, it did Fear, you called Mantle of Dread on that land. It was my land. I pushed a guy. We repeated the process. Oh.
It was a beautiful dance.
It was a gorgeous dance. Like I said, I really would have preferred hindsight being 2020. I should have bought a GoPro and recorded this one because this was just a freaking textbook.
It was our best game.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Real quick, Crops Wither and Fade can downgrade cities into towns.
Yeah.
But early game when we were kind of short on towns, you can also just downgrade a town into an explorer.
Yep. And it was kind of funny because there were times when John would downgrade a city and I'm like, okay, look, towns. Okay. But that's fine.
There was one time he told me, don't downgrade that city, downgrade the town in that land.
Right.
And we left the city there.
Sometimes we did. Y'all, we prioritized killing towns over everything else. There were times when we could have killed cities with Dahan counterattacks, but we chose to kill towns.
That's true. We did choose towns.
Yeah, it was do I kill the town and some explorers, or do I kill the city? Kill the town and the explorer.
Because those turn into more towns.
For real, seriously. Because there's a building here. If they explore in a land with a building, they don't put an extra explorer. I'll take it. I'd rather have fewer explorers and we kill the town.
The only time we were worried about cities was on the coast. I think that's the only time we were worried about cities. Well, obviously until the end game when we're we just gotta get cities to win the game.
We did have a fun little convenient choice event with new species spread. I'm not going to go ahead and get into the nitty gritty because this episode is getting pretty long already and we still have a long way to go. But it's one of these cards that allows you to pay for a cool effect, but it was aided by Moon. And so John and I were like,
all 4 of my cards have it.
So we had 6 Moon cards in play, and I had a Moon card in my hand already that I discarded.
For more energy.
So it was ridiculously easy. We brought the price down to 2 energy. Sure.
Yep.
We were able to do it. It got us a fear per player. And on each board, add a beast to a land with buildings. Oh, hey. Why not? That's really useful for our current strategy here. Oh, but then offerings of pattern and dance. Each spirit with at least 2 Dahan amongst all their lands gains an energy.
Money, money, money!
Yeah, this was one of those really good events. It was really, really nice.
Again, I was pretty bottom track. I kept getting energy. I'm like, this is nice.
As for Slave Rebellion, we got it twice.
Yep.
We got it at stage 1, and we got it at stage 3.
Stage 3 helped out way more, definitely.
Yeah, oh my goodness. We got it at stage 3. Some players don't even get Slave Rebellion at stage 3. It was awesome.
Sometimes you lose before that.
Being able to destroy a town for free, and then go ahead and put strife on a bad guy, and then each bad guy takes damage, was great for stage 3, because when I have a power that does 1 damage per beast, if there is a wounded invader, oh, perfect, love it.
Game
love
over.
it. It's just like, GG, you know.
And I had a lot of Dahan in my lands, so with that strife, I took out a city because the Dahan did damage.
Yep.
It was so nice.
It was so great. So, I talked about why Prey on the Builders was so clutch. I talked about why Terrifying Chase was so clutch. Now it's time to talk about why Ranging Hunt was so clutch. Oh my goodness, Ranging Hunt is always clutch. But, oh my goodness, being able to do, like I said, 7 damage, 6 damage, that one turn where I did 9 damage.
There it is, there's the 9.
Was insane. And here's the thing.
That's major power type of damage.
Yes. Ranging Hunt is the major power that I chase.
Yeah.
That is the one that I prioritize. That is why I go high card play, minor power spam with Fangs. Because major powers are great, I love them, but I want to secure my guaranteed major power, and I consider Ranging Hunt to be a major power, because it is a power that at first looks unassuming. You get to gather a beast, do 1 damage per beast, then push up to 2 beasts. Okay, seems fine. Little skirmish raids. And it definitely can be if you don't have enough beasts out there. But getting beasts out there, it's so simple, but freaking do it.
Yeah.
Get beasts out there, because then that power gets so strong, and then you are funneling bad guys into one land with Terrifying Chase. I was putting all my beasts in one land, putting all the bad guys in one land, did 9 damage, cleared them all, except for one town that had 2 health.
Yeah.
Frenzied Assault, one of my beasts goes away, town's dead, land clear.
Incredible.
A ton of fear, and so this is so helpful against France, because when they go and explore stuff, they are adding additional explorers all the time. And they're going to have buildings here and there that linger because they have so many towns that happen because of their stupid effect that says, oh, hey, when I build, if there's extra explorers here,
they turn into towns.
All the extra ones turn into towns. Well, guess what? Even though they had 3 explorers, 4 explorers, 3 explorers, and a town, even in a single turn, it went from clear land to 2 explorers and a town because of a bad event thing or other stacking.
Escalation.
Right, bad escalation things. Guess what? No problem. Okay, I need to do 4 damage immediately. I already have 2 beasts there because I'm spamming them out the wazoo. Bring 2 wins, 4 damage, all dead.
All in the fast.
All in the fast.
That cannot be said enough.
I cannot overestimate how having fast, consistent, high damage every single turn from Ranging Hunt was absolutely critical. And it is critical to negating France. Because like I said, oh no, they have multiple explorers. That's fine, I'm doing 3 damage. That's fine, I'm doing 5 damage. Oh no, they explore into a land I'm in. I already have 2 beasts in here. How many people showed up? 3. I only need to grab 1.
There you go.
I'll grab 1. Alright, do 3 damage. That's all I need. Alright, other 2. Where do you need to go? That way. Go. All dead. Everything. Oh no, completely negated. Completely stopped. This is so incredibly important. And if you are aggressively spamming beasts to a ludicrous degree, and to a degree that I think is actually encourageable and advisable, you will have beasts just milling around doing stuff. Even if you accidentally have beasts that aren't in the appropriate spot that you would like them to be in. Oh, hey, look, I have even 1 beast here.
Yeah.
But they have, multiple bad guys that just showed up. Okay, well, I'll bring in 2 because I can bring in 2, do 3 damage. 1 explorer remains. I'm okay with that. It's just a single explorer. I didn't need to kill everyone, but I got them down to a point where their damage is negligible. That's okay.
We were just explorer hunting. It was incredible. Because Shadows innate can also take down 2 explorers.
Because I was not picking off 1 explorer. I was picking off 2 in a town. Or 4 explorers.
Yeah.
Or even a city and an explorer.
And I was either moving them or also destroying them.
So whenever they would build, they're building in 2 lands, right?
Of course.
So 1 land was negated because I ran in there with Ranging Hunt, kill everything. No one is there. They're all dead. That land is covered. The second land, Prey on the Builders. Pretty much done. By the time I got my Reclaim 1, I kept grabbing Prey on the Builders again again and again and again. Or, depending on the turn, if I had enough beasts or if I was doing fine or if that land was already clear from another thing that you did or we had shoved it with Terrifying Chase, now the land is clear, the one I reclaimed maybe would be Guardian Serpents or it was Terrifying Chase again. So it was just so incredibly nice that Ranging Hunt and also Terrifying Chase enabled me to have clear lands consistently, even with France.
It was insane.
With all their people because of how many people we were shoving and killing. Oh, it was so great. Oh, but yeah, having Ranging Hunt happening every single turn at that ridiculously high degree. Oh, 5 damage, 4 damage, 7 damage, 6 damage that one turn. Oh, 9 damage. Oh, and then Blight removal every single turn for me was critical. Getting that Dahan in there.
Because we did Blight.
Right. And the thing was, is the land was still clear of Blight. I didn't stop the damage that came in. I took the damage. I never died because my presence wasn't there. My beasts were fine because beasts don't die when Blight enters. And then I had a Dahan remove it anyway. So over the course of a turn, the land's still clear at the end of it. And it's clean because, no, I didn't stop the damage, but the Dahan cleaned it up for me.
And thankfully, because of the Blight rule change, we didn't Blight the island because we were down to that one extra bonus Blight.
We never blighted the land.
We had the one extra...
Healthy island, baby.
We had one left, and that was from that bonus.
Yep.
Thanks, Eric.
Yep, that special build that all the explorers turned into towns happened on my board a single time.
That was clinical.
Yep.
It happened on mine more than that because...
A single time. And it was in the early game where it was in a land where I didn't have enough beasts out there to go ahead and stop it.
Shadows isn't as destructive as Fangs, clearly, so I was pushing as much as I could, but sometimes lands would fall through, so I would get like 3 towns and it would stink. But eventually you would come in or I'd push into you and you would eat them all up.
One thing that was very beneficial that we did not know going in or even during, I could feel it during, but it wasn't confirmed until the end, was the stage 1, 2, and 3 invader card that was burned. It's actually kind of ironic because it was mountain, and mountain wetland. So stage 1 was a mountain. The stage 2 card was a mountain. The stage 3 card was the wetland mountain combo.
They never went to mountains.
So they didn't really care about mountains, and that helped us a lot. Why? Because it was a lot easier for me to shuffle beasts to just wetlands, sands, and jungles only. I'm like, they're not going to mountains? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically...
Or that's why I would push them too.
Right. For a while, we had safe zones. We didn't know about that because during the game, we didn't know that we had burned mountain, and mountain wetland combo. But we were able to consistently go, and for me, I didn't have to travel as far because they were, hey, jungles again? Okay. Sands again? Okay, I'll just stay between these two
I'm already
lands.
in the jungles,
Basically, we had 3 lands for the majority of the game that we had to worry about.
Yep.
And that is a really big deal. And it's also random. So this awesomeness that we had, maybe part of it was like a diamond in the rough fluke thing. But then again...
this game is random inherently.
Right.
So
it's random inherently. You know, we did get Farmer Seek the Dahan for 8. I hate that card, but we still get it.
You never shuffled the event deck.
I shuffle it really good, dang it. I'm telling you, I have bad event card luck.
But the thing is like, you could say, oh, well, that was something that really went in your favor. Well, one thing that didn't go in my favor was not getting defend cards, okay?
Yeah.
So
or like beast spawning cards.
Right. We only had a single beast event when there's a lot of them out there.
One thing I noticed when we play or our group plays, someone kind of figures out early, maybe like before anyone else, that we've won the game.
Yeah.
But no one likes to tell them. They just like to be dramatic and actually...
Not me. I'm the person
you
we got this.
Yeah, you said we got them, like, how? And you're like, you'll see.
Well,
because I didn't know. I couldn't...
Right. Well, you said, just show me. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's what...
Because you're like, are you sure? I'm like, I guarantee it.
But that's something our group does. We're like, oh, we got this. And then we're just like, this happens. Bam. City
and then the one person who saw it can have the satisfaction of being like, and here it is.
And game, set, match.
And in this case, it was a frenzied assault at the very end on a wounded city that a Dahan that was liberated from a plantation had hit but couldn't finish off. And I did a frenzied assault. My second one in that game was only level 1, so it was only 2 damage, but it only had 2 health anyway. So the striped city that was panicked because it lost all of its labor force got eaten up by the fangs that were raiding them all game long. It was very thematic, and I loved it.
I'm so happy you were able to do that because I honestly think for how good of a game we had, I think we would have lost in the next build.
Oh, we definitely would have. We had 20 explorers.
We had no wilds or isolation. Explorers. They went everywhere.
Yeah, so it was very nice that we did that.
Had they built, insta-loss. That's the thing about France. You think like you're doing okay, and then all of a sudden, like, rug pulled from under you. You're like, oh, I just lost.
Right. But yeah, turn 8, we still had comfortably more turns out there. At least 4 additional turns out there.
I just don't know if I want more turns against France.
No, this game felt easier than Sweden. It really did. Now, I know it's because we were more...
Picks.
Yeah, our picks here were a bit more counterpick than it was against Sweden. Sweden, we weren't counterpick, although some people consider Finder to be a slight counterpick. But Mist certainly isn't against Sweden. And that game was hard. Still won, but it was hard. This one, oh my goodness, this felt so much more efficient, so much smoother, so much easier. I mean, we told you about just the interlocking strategies with the fear gain.
Yeah.
The fear gain from multiple cards and this thing, and fear gain from bad guys dying. But
being able to push because of fear.
We had control, getting to Han where we needed to go, getting beasts to where we needed to go, getting bad guys away from where they needed to go, getting bad guys into a certain land where Dahan now outnumber them to get
more fear.
Favors called due to trigger. But then we also had really high damage in clutch lands, and I was able to go ahead on the turn prior, remove a blight from a land that I really wanted to hit hard, because guess what? That land that I did my 9 damage attack on in the fast phase was a land that was blighted. But the turn prior, I shoved a Dahan in there, boop, get rid of the blight, and now weapons free, have at him, kill him. Great game.
As we look back, as we're like 50,000 view up, as we like look at France and look at like what is like a huge takeaway from tackling France for like the listener at home, they're like, this sounds awesome. I want to play France. What do you say for them to like focus on against France?
Fast control, fast damage.
Okay.
Honestly. Because one of the reasons why Starlight is so famous for their really good control capabilities isn't because of how much they can control, it's when.
Oh.
It's fast.
Yeah.
Fast control.
The aeronates they have.
Oh, yes. And in tandem with their fire, which allows them to do damage, and the fact that they have a growth option that does damage before the turn even starts, so you can go ahead and kill somebody before their turn even starts. Very reminiscent of Wildfire doing something very similar to that. Yes. Oh my goodness. Doing fast damage on a land that has, 3 explorers in a town. That's 4 invaders, all dead. And it was easy. Yeah. It was an afterthought to kill 4 invaders like that.
So you want to be a quick spirit.
Right. 3 explorers, 1 town. That's 5 damage. Some people might look at Ranging Hunt and be like, but Ranging Hunt is a power that does 2 to 3. Not if you're aggressive with your beast placement and you have 5, 6, 4, 3, 7, 9.
What you always had in your back pocket too is Prey on the Builders.
Prey on the Builders.
Stopping builds.
Stopping the builds. Prevention of builds was great. It really nips that stupid everyone turns into a town thing right in the bud.
Peek behind the curtain. We always talk before our game of like who we're going to play, and we go back and forth and like maybe this. And I brought up Starlight, but you had a good thought where you're like, yes, Starlight can be very good at control if you get air cards.
Right.
Or if you make that build.
You get the good build for it.
Yeah. That's the thing about Starlight. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. And you're like,
and if you don't get those elements, you can force yourself to get those elements with your track. But the problem is that A, takes time, and B, you are losing out on potentially triggering 3 or 4 innates per turn, and you lock yourself down to getting consistently 1 or 2. Yeah. And if you were really lucky, maybe a 3rd or 4th. So it's not as consistent, and I wanted someone that did get a lot of that consistency.
Especially against a level 6 adversary.
Right, and Foreboding Shadows and Fangs was a surprisingly strong pair.
I didn't think they would be this good together.
It was so good. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure which pair I want to take on adversaries with now. Fangs Foreboding or Wildfire Green?
Wildfire Green, but that is like the peanut butter jelly,
I know. And we have another pair now, Finder Mist.
That's true. That was an unlikely pairing, or this like the odd couple that somehow worked.
Right. What a game.
What a great game.
I raise my Snapple to thee, good sir.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
I liked how we kind of broke down the spirits, because these are sometimes afterthought spirits.
Yeah.
Or they're not thought of like control, river.
Do not ignore
Damage.
Foreboding Shadows.
Thunder Speaker. These are not like the spirits people think of first.
Keeper's famous. Volcano's famous.
Yeah.
Lure's famous. River's famous.
Yeah, look at Fangs again. Look at Shadows with an aspect.
Yes.
Even Amorphous.
Oh, yeah.
Some type of aspect or just Fangs in general.
Yep. And I'm a fan of Amorphous as well. Yeah. I love Amorphous for the ability to constantly not worry about my card's legalities happening. Because it's pretty much all the time, range 0, let me scoot in there really quick.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah, I liked that we didn't pick the biggest baddies.
Right.
Kind of the second time we've done that.
Y'all try the aggressive beast placement strategy with Fangs.
Just try out Sharp Fangs again.
Seriously.
Honestly.
If you, in your heart of hearts, actually want Fangs to be stronger than they are, and you feel as if they need a buff, play them as aggressively here. Stay with 3 presence on the board and spam beast with your growth option, converting your own presence into beast every single freaking turn.
I don't think Fangs needs a buff.
I don't think so. Seriously, starting hand challenge, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. And they are so strong when you have more beasts out there.
And adaptable. Like, you've gone bottom track before. You've done hybrid.
Yep.
You can do a major power focus Sharp
Yep.
Fangs and go, like, a lot of top track. Because you start with 2 cards.
Yep.
And you can still do range and hunt. You have elements on the top track. Like, there's so many different builds.
And I want to be friendly, and this is all about happy discussion.
Of course.
But if you are someone who complains that Fangs needs some random luck to happen, I will challenge you, listener, to use Terrifying Chase more and to put more beasts out there. Do that and then come back to me. Because once you have enough beasts out there, your ranging hunt isn't nipping at the heels anymore.
Right.
You're killing cities on turn 2. You are going and causing a ton of fear with Teeth Gleam from Darkness or from Terrifying Chase.
Yeah.
Use Terrifying Chase. Do it. Do it. Yes, you can.
Just do it.
Do it! Too Near the Jungle is fantastic for normal games. Here wasn't as useful because killing one explorer was nice, but it wasn't nearly as good as Terrifying Chase.
I would say, obviously Fangs is incredible, and just keep an eye on those builds with France.
Yeah,
like
Prey
you said,
on the Builders is so good.
Yeah, keep an eye on those
So
builds.
good.
Either kill them before they build or negate the build somehow.
Yep, and for really fun, awesome plays, when you are using Prey on the Builders to gather a beast into a spot, then you can go ahead and use Ranging Hunt to move that beast somewhere else.
Sure.
So use that in tandem to move one beast 3 spaces, perhaps, instead of just multiple beasts once.
Yeah.
Connect those dots.
Because Ranging Hunt, you can only gather one beast into it, but like with Prey on the Builders, you can get another one. And you can kind of like stack beasts into one land and then do damage there.
Half of your movement of beasts will be spawning them.
Yes.
Your other half of beasts is the actual shuffling them around.
Yeah.
So what this means is I usually like to have, depending on the board, of course, one beast on pretty much every land on my board. Then when I'm moving them around, that is where all the extra comes in. So I at least have a base to work with. Remember how I was talking about having a few beasts just milling around
Of course.
in a spot?
Yes.
Yeah, if they're milling around, that is how they got to milling around, because you were just spitting them everywhere. Of course, if you have problem lands like I did, one of the reasons why we never really had problems on coastal cities being built was because I had them milling about on the coast.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, the bad guys have bonuses when they build on the coast, and we could get a coastal land card, and there it is. So it was
I feel like
really
it
nice
always comes
for me.
up. I never get it shuffled out.
Yeah.
I feel like that never happens
I
with
actually
me.
do.
Maybe one of our games. Obviously, it doesn't happen a lot. The chances are low.
Yeah.
I just feel like I always get that coast.
I mean, it's 1 in 5 chance that you're not going to get it. But the thing is that 9 attack that I did, that was a coast.
Yeah.
That was a coastal land because I had shoved everyone else in there.
I can still picture it. That's Sans.
And one thing that was great is I was able to keep my board handled with all of my beast manipulations and moving. I didn't need to use my beast spawning as much to clear my board elsewhere. So, for that one problem land on the coast that I was shoving bad guys into, that was where I was adding my beast every turn. I was moving them on the inland lands, shuffling them around and stuff, but I kept spawning them on the coast, even though that land was blighted and I couldn't do anything there. So...
At first.
Right, at the time. Because I'm going to get there later. I was building up to that attack for a while.
It takes time, but it is cool to do 9 damage somewhere.
One thing that was great is one time John shoved some bad guys onto a mountain.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, because that mountain was, on my board. But then the event spawned a beast. And then I was like, you know what? Frenzied Assault, sacrifice that beast, kill the town, bam, done.
I'm a pusher. I mean, that's what foreboding is. I gotta move things around.
It was really good stuff. So I hope that you didn't mind that we went a little bit longer, a little bit extra on this episode.
We kind of really broke down both spirits.
Right, and this turned into kind of like Fangs and Foreboding Shadows, but like you said, how they interacted with France is a big deal in our France episode.
Yeah.
Because that is precisely how we thwarted and just pimp smacked France into the ground. So I think it's salient. I think it's relevant. So
yeah, keep it.
Right on. Okay, well, it is now time to go ahead and clean up this episode, get it shipshape, ready to go, and ready for publication. And until then, I'm crazy looking forward to seeing all of your comments and the data, because we got some interesting numbers to give you.
Yes, we do.
Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and start working on that here in the present. And in the future, I hope that you all enjoy this one.
Whoa, time travel.
I know.
Peace out.
Peace out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Kindred Spirit Podcast. We appreciate you taking the time to do so. Feel free to visit us on our Instagram and Facebook page. You can find me on our Facebook page at The Kindred Spirit Podcast. To get a hold of John, check out our Instagram page at the KSP123. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in future episodes.